not going to silence my ass by invoking the Holocaust or calling me an anti-Semite. I don't give a shit. Okay, I see what's happening clearly. I'm going to speak up about it, and no one's going to shut me up. Period. End of story. We see what's going on. The entire international community sees what's happening. The Israeli government wants to genocide and ethnically cleanse Palestinians, not just from Gaza, but the West Bank too. Look at the terror they're dealing with.
What I find amazing. What I find, hang on, Shabbos, please. Hang on. I want to go to Emily. What I find extraordinary, I genuinely mean this, is there seems to be either a lack of awareness of what the rest of the world is now beginning to feel about this, or a deliberate putting head in sand and saying, it's not happening, we don't want to hear it. Because, if I was an Israeli, if I was Jewish right now, it would be impossible not to be aware of how the world is beginning to feel about this, and that this has got out of hand, it's disproportionate, too many children are being killed, there seems to be no end game for this whatsoever other than, as Shabbos has just said, getting all the Palestinians out, right? Which is clearly what Smodrich, the finance minister, wants to do. As clearly what other members of that cabinet agree with him about. I just don't get why there's no awareness or deliberately willful blindness towards the growing international opprobrium from people like me, right, who've been very supportive of Israel's right to defend themselves. But there's just no apparent, all there is a digging in and a sort of blind refusal to admit that anything the Israeli government is doing is wrong, when most people, including two Israeli former prime ministers, have said it's not only wrong, but criminal.